Solo dining. The mention of it sends your stomach into knots. But there's also a part of you that wonders, how do you actually do it? Well, in today's video, I have some pointers to help you get on your way to becoming that solo diner, enjoying the solo dining experience, and turning it into something you actually look forward to. I'm Nadia. I am a Gen X Xennial solo slow traveling nomad who is exploring the world while on a career break. I know those are a lot of labels, but if any of them sound like you or something that you aspire to, you have come to the right place. So welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something that I've had a lot of practice with, which is solo dining. I've got 7 tips and a bonus, so stick around to the end to help someone become more comfortable with it and to help you get on your way. So if you like this video, be sure to subscribe, tinkle that bell to turn on your notifications, and let's get into it. My first tip, it's all about your attitude. More specifically, mind over matter. I mean, think about it. On a typical day, you are running a household, you are leading meetings, you are directing teams, you are delivering excellent presentations, you are setting records day in and day out. When people look at how you are navigating your spaces, they think that you are navigating like a boss. However, you have reservations around this idea of dining solo. Well, the good news is that the same confidence that you tap into to be that success story in other areas of your life, to be that boss, is the same place you go for your solo dining confidence. Stand tall, own the room, and know your worth. Maybe even look at solo dining as a way to love on yourself. So when you go to request that table or to check in for a reservation, the server's probably going to confirm your request. Maybe have a couple of witty responses on hand. So when they say, "Did you say a table for one?" You could again make eye contact and smile and say something like, "Yes, a table for one very hungry diner. I'm looking forward to eating here." Keep it moving. There's a psychology behind smiling that impacts our mood and our confidence and helps make us feel a little bit more positive in just about any situation. So the long and the short of it is that smiling, having that confident attitude will set you up to have a positive experience from the get-go. So that's why my first tip is attitude and that mind over matter. Tip number 2, dine with purpose. At this point, you are ready to go. You have a great attitude, your confidence is through the roof, and you are eager to continue on this solo dining journey. Second layer to that confidence is the purpose piece. And when I think about purpose, it makes me think about intentions, the way you have a set an intention for your day when you're doing a meditation or a yoga practice, but an objective, something that you want to experience or accomplish by the end. Now, what that could look like or how to apply it could be you taking a look at the menu or going on the Instagram account, looking at some of the options that will be available to you and making a few selections. Making yourself familiar with what will be available so you're not overwhelmed, adding to any anxiety that you may feel, and maybe have a little fun with it. So maybe pick out a unique menu item or try something new, a different flavor, an interesting combination, maybe treat yourself to dessert. Any number of things could be applied here, but the objective would be something that you want to accomplish by the end of your dining experience. Now, once you have selected and pinpointed a purpose, I would say take an additional action and commit. And commit, I think in this case, is making a reservation. but not simply going on to a website and making that reservation online. I mean, you could do that. I'd say pick up a phone and call. One, it's nice to have that human connection. Two, the restaurants typically warmly receive it. Three, you can even ask the host about a good time to come in as a solo diner, especially for dinner. It might make sense for you to try to pick a time before the dinner rush or right after the dinner rush. Another way to, kind of quell any concerns that you may have around butterflies. So pinpoint some menu items that you may want to give a try. It'll make the menu less overwhelming in real time, and commit. So you're honoring your taste buds. You are honoring this commitment that you've made to show up at the restaurant at a particular time. You are dining with purpose. Tip number 3, bring some props. So picture it. You've got the great attitude, you have a reservation, you are just about to head out and you feel like you need something to keep your hands busy, or you start wondering how you're going to pass the time. That's where props can be really, really helpful. One rule I would make is to, of course, you're going to bring your phone with you, but don't get on your phone and start mindlessly scrolling away or watching a movie while you're at the restaurant. I'd say go analog. And of course, take a picture of your food if you want to do that, but don't get on Instagram or Facebook or anything else while you're at the restaurant. The props that I would recommend are printed material, a book, a magazine, a journal, maybe some postcards to write to friends and family at home. You could draw if you like to sketch. All of those are excellent ways to enhance your dining experience. So let's say that you decide to bring the journal. You could reflect on your day. You could write about your dining experience in real time. People might even think that you're a food critic if you're writing and taking notes and things in a journal. With the book, you may opt to bring a guidebook if you're traveling and start planning your next experiences or the next tours that you want to give a try. I would just allow yourself to not get distracted by the overstimulation that can come from being on a device. Just try the simple things. I love writing in my journal. I think it gives an air of mystery and it allows me to come in and out of the moment with tremendous ease. So I'm able to connect with my environment, but then go into whatever it is that I'm writing and kind of be with my thoughts in the moment. So bring a prop, stay away from the digital devices, and just go with something light. Go with an opportunity to collect your thoughts, to process where you are. Write in that journal. Make a picture of what you're seeing around you in a sketchbook. Read. Just let your mind rest a little bit, and it will only complement your dining experience. And it'll also ease your nerves a little bit too. So bring some props, but stay off the phone. Tip number 4, location matters. Where you sit in the restaurant is so important for shaping your overall experience. To make it easy, there are a couple of choices that I'll lay out for you. One, you can always opt to go to the bar. 2, you may consider seeing if there's a chef's table, which is similar to a bar experience, but it gives you access to the kitchen and you're able to see the chef at work, and it could be a little bit more interactive, the same way sitting at the bar can be interactive. And then you can always opt for a traditional table. My personal favorite is to go for a table, and I love sitting near a window or on a patio. Patios reign supreme for me when the weather is warm. I will say that sometimes restaurants can get a little bit tricky when it comes to seating a solo diner. There's a higher likelihood with a solo diner that they'll try to put you in a less desirable location. Those locations are typically near a beverage station, in a high traffic area, by the bathroom area, or where there's a supply closet or extra chairs being stacked up. Now, if you find that you are being taken to a less desirable area for your preferences, um, you don't have to sit there. All you need to do is let them guide you, pause, do not sit down, look around, and ask if you might be able to get seated at this table over here, or is there something closer to the window that's available, or is there anything available on the patio? And see what they have to say. 9 times out of 10, if not more than 9 times out of 10, the host will completely honor your request. You may also find that your preference is to be in a quiet area. A lot's going to do with just your mood and what you're trying to experience that day. And go for that too. Just state your request. I do think it's best to state your request before the host starts walking you over, but you never know. So when you check in, can I get a table for one? And can I get something by a window? Or can I get seated on the patio? Is an easy way to state your preferences on the front end. I would also recommend that if you're going to be seated at the bar, that you at least check in with the hostess on your way into the restaurant just to let them know, hey, I think I'm going to grab a seat at the bar and go from there. But and the reason I say check in is they may be able to recommend a good bar seating or a good seat at the bar for you to get an optimal view of the dining room. In my previous tip, I had mentioned making a reservation, and that is another point where you can state your preferences around where you'd like to sit in the restaurant. So that's why it's a good thing to call. At this point, I hope that you have been finding what I've shared useful, and if it is helpful, definitely press that like button. Please sign up to subscribe and tinkle that bell so that you get notifications the next time I upload a video. Tip number 5, engage. So you are doing so well. You have the confidence, you made your reservation, you have a great location, you've got some props on hand. Tip number 5 is engage. Talk to the people in the restaurant environment. It certainly will quell some of your anxiety, and it will help you feel a little bit more connected to your overall dining experience. Now, this is really easy to do if you're at the bar, so you can talk to the people next to you. You could do the same if you're at the chef's table. The chef's table and the bar are often spots where you can more readily find other solo diners, so you might make a new friend. But if you're at a table, definitely talk to your server. Ask them questions, and you can do that at the bar and at your table. But you could ask the restaurant staff questions. Think about it. They get training in what comprises each of the meals, or what makes certain cocktails unique, or where the fish was flown in from, or any of those things. And they're an excellent resource for insight. If you're traveling, they can even tell you about cool places to check out. So engage with your environment, engage with the people who are directly around you. It will only serve to enhance your experience. Perhaps you'll even make some new friends, but most importantly, it will further calm your nerves. So be open, engage, be a little bit chatty. You'll have fun with it, I promise. Tip number 6 is actually my favorite, and it became my favorite after a little bit of practice, and I think it will become your favorite too. But the tip is savor. This is your moment to eat mindfully, to appreciate the environment around you, to revel in the dining experience, to slow down, process, and take it all in. When you savor, you are taking a bite, you're putting your utensils down, you are chewing, perhaps identifying the different flavors. You are letting the dining experience be something that you can step into and sit in. It allows you to activate all of your senses. You don't need to feel rushed. You can find delight and pleasure in every moment of the meal, of sitting by yourself, of just taking it all in. As you're looking out the window, you can savor the quiet to just look at the sunset, Watch the people who are walking by. I think people watching is so much fun, which is why I enjoy sitting by the window. You are allowed to let your mind wander, really do some of the things that you don't necessarily get to do in our busy lives. Settle in and really, really enjoy this time for yourself. Love on yourself. See this as a moment for you to, I don't want to necessarily say self-care, but to really appreciate one, that you've made this move, that you've taken this bold step to go out and dine by yourself, but that you have this unique, special, prepared meal that you've been presented with, whether it be street food, whether it be some fine dining experience. It doesn't even matter if it's served on a paper plate or if it's rolled up in a napkin or if you have some fancy fine china. Doesn't matter. It's all about the experience and you appreciating this moment of solitude for you to settle in and wrap yourself in it. So I know that was dramatic, but that has become one of my favorite parts of a solo dining experience. And it makes you want to do it again and again. And I just think that it's just a wonderful way to not overlook the places and spaces that you might typically go to when when you don't have anybody to join you. So I know this one's a little bit cheeky, but I'm saving the most important, the biggest barrier to solo dining for last. And that pointer is nobody's thinking about you. Nobody cares. No one finds you nearly as interesting as you think. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but that's the truth. When you've been at a restaurant and you've seen a solo diner, sure, you may observe them the same way you observe anybody else, but do you really sit there and think about them the entire time that you're there for your meal? No. You don't necessarily remember them. They don't stick out in your mind. So why do you think that all of a sudden you are going to be that interesting to somebody else? It just isn't. People are consumed with their food, their family who's around them, or whoever their dining companions are, as they're catching up with their best friend or they're having a date night or whatever it is. The only other person who probably notices you is another solo diner. I will say that it is even possible, and I get a little bit of humor out of this, that you might be more inclined to get forgotten. And some will say that it's because there's less movement at a table when there's only one person there, as opposed to having six, people are in constant motion. But I think it also can even enhance the experience because no one's bothering you. So, like I said, I hate to break it to you, no one's really paying that much attention to you. You're not that interesting to them. Certainly they'll notice you the same they would notice anybody else, but no one's judging you. Do you typically judge people when they're dining by themselves? So I want to dispel the myth that people are thinking about you or judging you when you're solo dining. They really aren't. So with that said, the biggest barrier, the one thing that really, really gets stuck in people's mind when it comes to that solo dining experience, turns out to not really even be a thing. So to recap, one, attitude. Have that great attitude for solo dining. Two, dine with intention. Go in with a little bit of a plan. Three, bring props. Four, location matters. Five, engage with your environment. Six, savor. Take a deep breath, be mindful, savor the experience. And seven, most important, nobody's thinking about you. There you have it. What's stopping you? I want you to go forth and have this great dining experience. It will totally level up the way you interact with restaurants, with travels, with dining in general, and maybe even a little bit of confidence as you consider doing more and more activities solo. I definitely encourage you to start small. Do your baby steps. Graduate to taking a seat outside of the bar at a table in the center of the room. But the biggest thing, just give it a try. There's nothing stopping you, and there is an entire world of fantastic, memorable, and delicious dining experiences awaiting you. Good luck. I promised a bonus tip. And my bonus tip is around suggestions for handling the bathroom. And I choose generally to not leave my food and beverage unattended. So if I need to go to the ladies' room or to powder my nose, I do one of three things. I will, when the host or hostess is taking me to my seat, I will drop a shawl or a book or the notebook that I'm bringing with me at my seat, and then I go to the bathroom. No food has been delivered. My menu may not have even gotten there, so there's no additional concern that I have to be mindful of. If I don't do it then, I might do it after I have placed my order, so nothing has been brought to me yet. Or I will wait until the end of my meal and go before I leave the restaurant. So that's how I handle it. Alternatively, if that is something that's not as much of a concern for you, perhaps you've made a friend at a table nearby, or you just don't mind, leaving your napkin in your seat is pretty universal in terms of an indication that you're not done with your meal. What I would do secondarily is to find out what the cultural practice is for handling utensils based on the community in which you're staying. Different countries, different cultures have a different way of handling utensils. For chopsticks, Americans do things a different way. Some cultures will eat with their hands, so you may not have a utensil. So what is it that you need to do? I will look into that as just something to be aware of and use that practice when you're at the restaurant. And then of course, you could certainly catch the eye of your server and let them know that, you have to step away and to please not take your food, because who wants to go step away to handle some personal business, come back, and your food's gone before you were done with your meal. There you go. All right, my fellow solo diners, what tips that you have? Put them below in the comments to share with viewers. And for those of you who are new and perhaps haven't given this a try or are just dipping your toe into the waters of solo dining, what additional questions do you have? Is there anything that you were excited about giving a try or that you learned today? You mentioned that in the comments below too. So again, I thank you for your time. Please like, please subscribe, and tinkle that bell for notifications, and I will look forward to seeing you soon.